Today, I'll be explaining the biological process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis has two stages, the light-dependent reactions and the light-independent reactions. These stages have a reciprocal relationship. We'll get into more about that later. The first most important thing to know about photosynthesis is the equation. The equation is very simple. It's 6CO2 plus 6H2O equals C6H12O6 plus 6O2. This might sound complicated, but it is essentially 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, 1 molecule of glucose, and 6 molecules of oxygen. The carbon dioxide and the water act as the reactants, and the glucose and the oxygen act as the products. The next important thing to discuss before we talk about the actual reactions is chloroplast anatomy. Both the light-independent and the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis occur in the chloroplast. There are many different parts of the chloroplast, but the two that we'll be talking about today are the stroma, where the light-independent reactions occur, and the thylakoid membrane, where the light-dependent reactions occur. Now we will talk about light-dependent reactions. These occur in the thylakoid membrane. Light-dependent reactions have three separate parts that work together to generate NADPH and ATP. The inputs are NADP+, ADP, and H2O. Outputs are NADPH, ATP, and O2. Now we will talk about the three stages of light-dependent reactions. The first stage is the electron transport chain. In the electron transport chain, light strikes an electron in chlorophyll in photosystem 2. The electron is excited to a high energy level. Then, the high energy electron moves through a series of proteins until it reaches photosystem 1. Energy from the moving electron is used to actively transport H+ ions from the stroma into the lumen, creating and maintaining an H+ ion gradient across the thylakoid membrane. The electron is out of energy once it reaches photosystem 1. Another photon of light hits the electron and excites it again. This electron is captured by NADP+ and a hydrogen ion to reduce NADP+ into NADPH. NADPH is transported to the stroma and used in the light-independent reactions. The next stage is photolysis. Water is struck by a photon of light and broken into O2, H+ ions, and electrons. The electrons are used to replenish photosystem 2, O2 is released as a waste product, and H+ ions help maintain the concentration gradient. Stage 3 is chemiosmosis. In this, the electron transport chain generated a H+ ion gradient across the thylakoid membrane. The H+ ions diffuse through a channel in ATP synthase. Energy of diffusion allows ATP synthase to phosphorylate to ADP to make ATP. ATP is transported and used to power the light-independent reactions. Now onto the light-independent reactions. These are also called the Calvin cycle. These occur in the stroma of the chloroplast, and the inputs are CO2, NADPH, and ATP, and the outputs are glucose, NADP+, and ADP. You may now be asking yourself, how does the Calvin cycle work? Well, NADPH and ATP are oxidized, and the energy released from this oxidation is used by the enzyme Rubisco to reduce and fix inorganic carbon from CO2 into an organic form in glucose. This regenerates NADP+ and ADP, which are recycled back to the light-dependent reactions. The Calvin cycle must occur twice before one glucose molecule is produced. This may lead you to wonder, why? Why is photosynthesis even important anyways? Well, first, photosynthesis helps plants produce their own food. This helps keep them alive. Photosynthesis is also important because plants are the first step in the food chain. We cannot make our own food, so we must get our food from plants. The final reason that photosynthesis is important is because plants produce the oxygen that we breathe and many other living organisms need to stay alive. Thank you for watching this video on photosynthesis. Bye!